I submitted my PhD dissertation to the University of Chicago Divinity School 3 days ago and finally returned to this YouTube channel. Yay! Dun, 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 dun. If you wanna Ellen with me, okay, so Dua Lipa parody. So thank you all so much for your patience of my absence in online, like 7 months or so. That was so intense moment of writing. I'm so glad it's almost over. Now the dissertation is submitted, the dissertation office of the the university is now checking the formatting. Hopefully I will hear the final confirmation from the school within a month or so. And then I will make the final official announcement. So first of all, I want to thank you all for many good comments and conversations, inspiring conversation through comment section of these videos in my channel, which inspired me to write better and reflect deeply about the philosophical implications of the Lotus Sutra. So without that encouragement and humor and good creative comments, I wouldn't be able to finish that. So thank you so much. Of course, my thanks goes to all the professors of my reading committee and my advisor, who was excellent. Okay, maybe I can now disclose it. My academic advisor was Dr. Buddhist Community. He teaches at the University of Chicago Divinity School, and he was the one who navigated with his great patience and such a skillful pedagogical skills, accompanied my intellectual journey at the University of Chicago Divinity School over the last 9 years. Can't believe 9 years took a while. These 9 years, what's the right now I'm 39 years old. In my 30s was dedicated almost exclusively to the dissertation writing in the PhD program. That was so far the best moment of my life. if I don't say this to my wife and her close friends, that might probably cause some reactions to that against it. Perhaps because my wife was the one. I'm so grateful to my wife, Emily, who has accompanied me throughout this journey. Without her help, the completion of that dissertation was never ever possible at all. So Dr. Ziporin he's not, have you purchased this book? I've been promoting this book throughout this channel, Emptiness and Omnipresence, Introduction to Tiantai Buddhism, an essential introduction to Tiantai Buddhism, published in 2016 by Buddhist Community. He has published many books about Chinese philosophy, Western philosophy, comparative philosophy, and Tiantai. Wow, his way of pedagogy was amazing. He never forced me to rush and yet check in a timely manner all the time. I mean, timely manner when that was necessary every time. And what I learned from him is that, okay, so I bring in some kind of half-baked, sluggish thoughts. Oh, maybe this passage in the Lotus Sutra is Tiantai commentary to that passage. Maybe getting at this kind of philosophical implications. But I'm not sure about, how I can really prove that on a textual basis. And every time I bring that kind of thoughts into it, he never was like, oh, Kyohei, that's not right. But he's rather something like, That's an interesting thought. He says, interesting thought. And what he did was amazing. And he asks questions to students like me. Okay, so say more. What do you mean by that? That, I think he said something like, I think you're getting at something important. I think you are putting the finger on some important issue, philosophical issue. It's really encouraging, right? So my dissertation titled The Cunning of Buddhahood, an omnitelic reconception of teleology in Tiantai Buddhist thought. That's the title of my dissertation, pretty much about Tiantai interpretation of Lotus Sutra. So that was an amazing journey. I'm gonna miss him a lot. And let me put the Amazon link to either comment or the description box below this video. Right, so I'm gonna miss him. That means this is a little bit of bad news. I'm here in the US in Chicago suburb on my student visa, which will be expiring in a month from the recorded date of this video. So my family and I will be returning in a month or so to Japan. Schedule will be different. The seminars on the Lotus Sutra online I've been running through my Buddhist Community, Chicago. I probably wouldn't be able to lead it right now at Chicago community, Buddhist community, my community. English-speaking members and I have been in the middle of a meeting because I'm planning a meeting, like as you can see in these pictures. Go ahead, Chris. Where's this one?
Maybe this is suffering that we have to live through.
Once again, sorry?
I said that maybe this is suffering that we have to live through. You know, whether it's 6 months or a year or 5 years before you're able to convince people to come back, you know, we could see this as a trial of suffering.
These are the pictures of our meeting, right? So, and the proposals were accepted, right? So that was very fun. And then just yesterday, we had a graduation party for me. My wife, my kids and I were there with our friends. Yeah, you know, the Rishakosekai and Rishakosekai Chicago community that I belong to is full of compassion and care for humanity. You know, like, I was really disheartened and shocked to have found that, you know, one of the dentist, like a dancing dentist that I follow on Instagram, she was saying things like, so you know, now in the movie Barbie or something is going on, right? So piggybacking on the topic, she was saying in the dentist and on Instagram, people ask you to hang out and yet nobody asks you how you are doing. Is that true? That was heartbreaking. So regardless how you appear, everybody must be respected. Everybody's feelings matter. In Buddhism, and in day one, it started by saying, life is suffering. What does that mean? Well, as soon as we are born with desire, right? So desire is what propels our life. But because the structure of desire is built in the gap between what you have already and what you want to have, which is not in the present, so this gap, try to close this gap, what is the case and what is not the case that you desire, becomes a condition for the production of suffering. Suffering, in this sense, is a stress, right? Anxiety is also another stress suffering, right? Anxiety is about you desire to control the future, which is not the case now, as opposed to what is now. You worry about the future in comparison to what is the case now. Buddhism started by shockingly claiming that, hey, what is inherent to all of our human life is the universal inescapability of suffering. That's why my Buddhist community, Rishakosekai, truly matters to me a lot. We oftentimes feel alone, lonely in our personal suffering, right? But if you go to Rishakosekai community, Sunday service, or study sessions and so on, they're really practical and connect with people's heart by sharing the story of their Buddhist practice, which oftentimes involve talking about with honesty and kindness of their personal struggles and how they are trying to cope with based on the Buddhist lifestyle that they learn in Rishaku Sekai, especially based on the wisdom of the Lotus Sutra. So I was really saddened to hear the Instagrammer's post. I will probably write to her. I don't know if she's a famous one, so I don't know if she responds, but yeah, probably I will suggest that, I don't know, if she's open to Buddhist spirituality, maybe she might want to give it a try, Rishaku Sekai community.